for the people out there that we want to communicate with.
Yeah.
Tell us about your vision here. What is it that you're trying to create and wanting to create?
Yeah, so, well, like the vision, Earth Neighbours is about just the vision I had about seeing the land, how I came here, started this project, saw all around me had abandoned land, and saw so much potential in that land being reoccupied by like-minded people that would want to do the same thing as me, that could also act as a support, or we could all act as supports for each other, and it would form a kind of a synergistic effect towards reforesting land as a community, as a kind of rural community.
So bringing back abandoned land.
Yeah. And then I also noticed that I wasn't the only one in this position. There were so many other people, there's really courageous people out there going out starting all these initiatives, their own projects. And, well, it's just the state of Portugal is abandoned. I mean, you see around there's so much abandoned land here. And at the same time it's going through desertification and a lot of problems with climatic changes, has problem with fires and stuff. And if cells could form around nucleus cells such as this, then they kind of can act as a bit of an immune response to what's going on currently.
Okay, so
on different levels as well, that is.
Yeah.
Not just on a sort of ground level, although it's based on the ground. There's also climatic and there's
different levels.
Protection elements as well.
What I'm hearing is abandoned land that is threatened in some way.
Yeah.
Building community, building immunity. And so why is it important here? Why is it important to do this? It's a whole big question, but
Why is it important? Well, for me it's important because I'm doing like what I feel I'm called to do. That's my own calling. I'm really inspired by permaculture, and I've seen that it provides a lot of answers, a lot of solutions to today's problems, and that people are doing it they're putting it into practice, and it's not just the theory, it's actually happening, people are doing it. And so building on from that, you have such a large group of people, young people, that want to move out onto the land and do this kind of thing, but a lot of them limited with resources and all kinds of things that limit them. And so I think it's important to help fulfill the inspiration of the younger people that want to move out to the land, but also as a response to help the land, because it really, there are problems with the land. It's undergoing a lot of threats, and I think the more people you have on the land working towards reforesting and protecting the land against threats of things such as fires, even through design.
Yeah, there does seem to be a movement of people returning to the land. I think people are feeling that calling in themselves, and and people are taking the steps to do that.
And we've both been witness to that as well. Like, we see it happening around us, so I think we can say that pretty confidently.
Yeah. So, the point about Earth Neighbours is that it is a collaboration, like a community. So you said before about wanting to have people in surrounding areas of land, so a much greater landmass is being looked after by many people who are working together and collaborating.
Yeah.
And for that then to become a model that can be replicated
Yeah.
here, there, and everywhere.
Well, it would be nice if these people can get together and create all that area into a conservation area so that it's protected from any outside interest that could come along to try and change that into something
Yeah.
different. There's a lot of privatisation going on in the world right now, and there's a lot of economic interests
That aren't necessarily for the best
the motives,
benefit of the,
motives
of the land and the people.
are not quite clear, let's say.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. We'll move a little bit further up the land, and I'll just ask the next question, and we'll take it from there.
All right.
So here we are. Different part of the land. Do you want to tell us a little bit about why we see what's around us right now?
Yeah, well, a fire came in from the west, came in from area of Mangualde, started in 3 places, and basically within a few hours was in this area. The winds were too strong to try and stop anything. There was a lot of built-up scrub around that area. Crossed the road and destroyed, came through destroyed the Quinta.
I mean, it literally looks like an alien landscape to me. Just everything, just all you can see is the outline of what was here before. So, and what area? Obviously, there was your land, but surrounding land. What sort of area was hit?
In how many hectares?
Yeah.
It's probably like in this area alone, in like what I kind of envision as the Earth Neighbourhood area for this area, I'd say probably a good 30 hectares, 40 hectares maybe.
So about 20 acres, something like that?
More, that's double. In acres it's double, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. So more like 80, 90, 100 hectares.
Maybe, yeah, maybe like 30 hectares, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, in total, this fire started when it started the area, because I was just speaking with the engineer before it started before. He said 285 hectares of land was burnt down completely from that fire.
Wow.
280, that's probably about 500 acres.
That's a lot of land, a lot. A lot of wildlife.
Yeah.
Mm.
A lot of wildlife. And a lot of pasture land as well. The shepherds don't have any more grass for their grazing animals.
Yeah. So you were talking earlier about the vision, the Earth Neighbours vision, and how it is able to be replicated elsewhere. And here we have a situation. How do you see this? Do you see it as a problem, opportunity, bit of both? I don't know. You just tell us, where does this take you? I mean, how do you react to something like this?
Well, pretty helpless really, just have to accept it. It feels like a cleaning, just a big cleaning. It's the only way I can describe it. Somehow it's revealed something new to me. I've seen things differently now. And, well, just made me work harder in trying to realise this vision that I have. So, yeah, I'm using it as an opportunity.
Yeah. It certainly highlights the need to caretake. That really the land does need us, humans, to play our part. So how do you see this affecting, the way that you'll manage the land and work with the community differently,
Yeah.
to ensure this doesn't happen again, or best you can.
Yeah. Well, I have my immediate idea is to create like a corridor around the farm. Well, at least a place where I can have animals, like grazing animals such as sheep and goats, that can have an area of, say, a 20-metre wide firebreak area. I want to plant it out as well with firebreak species like oleander and
that was the one we collected seeds from this morning.
yeah, pseudoacacia, but I was thinking of Paulownia tomentosa.
Okay.
It's like a fast-growing tree, but it's quite fire retardant as well. But yeah, the most immediate is getting fencing for sort of creating an animal corridor and shelter for animals.
Yeah.
Because that's a more immediate sort of plan. It takes time for sort of fire retardant species to grow. So yeah, first step is getting a sort of a way of creating a corridor around the farm, having a place for the animals, and then planning out the fire retardant species
Okay.
along the edges of that.
So it sounds like the extra element in protecting the environment is now about how you build in sort of fire prevention naturally.
Yeah.
You know, using either partnership with animals to create grazing land that's going to prevent fires sweeping across land.
Yeah.
And then adding fire retardant species.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine like little corridors around the edges of the farms as well. Like if there's a whole set of farms all sort of jigsaw puzzled together, it could also have corridors that run throughout all those areas.
Yeah.
And you can not limit it just sheep and goats, but cows and whatever other animals. It'd be a really interesting experiment.
And do you see that as then something that could then be replicated, or shown as a model to other people in the area?
Yeah, I believe it's possible. Yeah. And each place has got their own individual challenges. So the way the problems are solved is going to be relative to the landscape.
Yeah.
The land.
The environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly here in Portugal, it's a lot of dry.
Yeah.
Basically fire-loving plants and timber. It's okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean here I'd like to get my neighbour as well involved. All the neighbours involved in reshaping the landscape as well. Maybe creating water retention areas.
Yeah. So the vision continues, maybe a little bit enhanced with some new ideas that ultimately will allow the land to survive and thrive without having to experience this again. Yeah? And for then that to be a model for other communities, and sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And maybe just a little talk about this beauty. So this is
a beautiful tree. It's Betula celtiberica. It was just growing so well here, so beautifully, and that's in 5 years it's grown, and it's just it really demonstrated the difference between I planted in various locations, and the other ones didn't do so well, but here, because they do like moisture. Once they got moisture, they really thrive and just go really well.
Yeah.
It is meant to be a fire retardant species as well.
Okay.
I think it slows the fire down. Maybe this one wasn't quite big enough, and there was too much scrub around it. I hadn't got to clean this area yet.
But what we did notice down here, we talked about the phoenixes rising from the ashes and
Celtic birch rising up from the ashes.
Poignant thing, really.
Yeah, I do feel like it's a reawakening of the Celtic culture happening here. Something closer to the Celtic culture. They were much more in touch with the earth.
Connected to the land, to the Mother Earth. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
Let's hug it out, brother.